I was, supposed to start, but I couldn't until I passed the mile. So physically, I needed to do that. I needed to get past that hump, and I started my whole freshman year. It was an amazing journey. Off the court, school wise, I personally thought it was going to be really hard because I'm not really a school person. So I thought it was going to be hard. They put you in positions to succeed. They give you tutors. You have all the resources, so it's up to you to take advantage of that. But for me, it wasn't hard because of the resources they gave us. So it made the transition easier as far as school-wise.
Well, parents, welcome back to Recruiting from the Bleachers, where we shine a spotlight on the journeys that begin in hometown gyms and stretch across continents in this case. So today's guest is Keira Robinson, a dynamic point guard whose basketball story spans college courts and international arenas as well. Keira played 4 seasons at Virginia Commonwealth University, better known as VCU, where she became only, get this, the second player in school history to notch over 1,000 points, 400 assists, and 200 steals. She averaged 8.9 points and 3.8 assists per game, as well as averaging almost 2 steals per game across 125 career appearances. And after college, Keira took her talents overseas, playing professionally in Spain, Argentina, Iceland, Belarus, and now Switzerland. And this is why we want to speak with this young lady today, because this is an experience that not a lot of people talk about. And I want to give parents an understanding, or at least a taste of what it's like to play overseas. So in Iceland, in the Iceland League, and Keira, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your Vlga. I don't know how you
Yeah,
pronounce.
I don't even know how to pronounce it, but my team name was Haker. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But she's in the, I will just stick with the Iceland League, where
yeah,
she
yeah.
averaged 24 points, 8 rebounds per game, and 5 assists per game, earning MVP honors in the Iceland Cup finals. She's a 3-time Iceland Cup champion and a 2-time Super Cup winner, known for her clutch performances and leadership on and off the court. So from Columbia, South Carolina to the world, Keira's story is one of resilience, adaptability, and excellence. So let's dive into this particular journey. So Keira Robinson, welcome to Recruiting from the Bleachers.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And before we really dig into the questions, let me ask you, Keira, what through the years has really been your spark or passion to play basketball?
I think that the spark and what always keeps it fun and passionate, what I can do for other people, and just bringing my energy, my experience to just the people around the world. And for me, that brings me passion, especially with the youth. Just having them somebody to look up to, it's a blessing, and I don't take it for granted. Yeah.
Let's rewind just a little bit to VCU when you began your career.
Mhm.
What did college basketball teach you that still shapes your game today?
That nothing's handed to you. I think either you want it or you don't. I think a lot of players are just on the maybe I do, maybe I don't. Either you want it or you don't. And it gets to an age where you have to figure that out. And in college, you constantly have to earn your spot every practice, every game. And still to this day, like as a professional, it's the same thing. Nothing changes there. And I think every time I step on the court, what college taught me is that don't take it for granted. Whether I'm playing pickup or I'm playing a real game, like some people hate playing pickup against me because like I'm gonna play for real. Like I don't take it for granted. So I'm always gonna work at it. I'm always gonna work for it.
At VCU, you hit some major milestones. And
Mhm.
was there a moment you realized you could play professionally?
I think it was in high school. I knew I wanted to play professionally. I knew I wanted to play. I didn't know what it really looked like, but I never gave myself a plan B. It might sound crazy, but I think plan B is just something we tell ourselves in case plan A doesn't work out. Again, I'm not against it at all. But for me, that wasn't the case. I wanted to do it, and that's what I put my time and my effort and my energy into, and I wanted it. And I know I had to work at it. Again, didn't know what it looked like, but it was my plan A, and that was my only plan.
Well, let
Yeah.
me ask you this. In high school, was there anything in high school? Well, let me rephrase it. Was there any skill set in college that you wish you had learned in high school that you really needed in college?
I would say conditioning,
Mm.
being in shape. I don't know if they still do the mile test now, but we had to do a mile test, and I was, as a freshman, still in season running my mile because I couldn't pass it, and my coach didn't play. If you didn't pass it, you weren't playing. And it was really, really hard for me. I think it was more mental than anything, obviously, but I just couldn't push past that barrier. And just finally one day I was just like, every morning, 6 a.m., had to run, had to run, had to run until you passed it. And eventually I passed it. So I think mentally pushing past that conditioning barrier of, yeah, like it's for real. Like you hit the ground running, literally.
Being so far away from home, you went to VCU and you were from South Carolina. Was the distance hard for you to make the adjustment as you traveled to VCU and without your parental support?
For me, I'm not really I don't get homesick or I'm not a homebody. So moving away from home, it was like really ideal for me, especially when I went on my visits. And I got to be around the team. I got to, experience the coaches. I got to see the team in a different off the court dynamic and the camaraderie of the team. And for me, that did it no matter where I was. So and I always never like limited myself to just being in South Carolina or being close to home. Like, so for me, it's a little different. I don't really get homesick. So, and I had a lot of fun. So it was cool for me.
What was the transition like for you going from high school to college? Did you play right away? What was that transition like for you, both physically and mentally, making that transition from high school to college?
hmm Yeah, I was, supposed to start but I couldn't until I passed the mile. So physically I needed to do that. I needed to get past that hump, and I started my whole freshman year. It was an amazing journey. Off the court, school wise, I personally thought it was going to be really hard because I'm not really a school person. So I thought it was going to be hard, but they put you in positions to succeed. They give you tutors. You have all the resources, so it's up to you to take advantage of that. But for me, it wasn't hard because of the resources they gave us. So it made the transition easier as far as school wise.
Kira, what was it like to make that transition from high school to college? And all of a sudden, you're faced with new coach voices, new teammates, and I'm sure your teammates switched out almost every year. What was that dynamic? What was that feeling like to adjust to all of these people?
So when I first got it, it was overwhelming for sure. Somebody that's coming from high school, like you having to grow up essentially really fast within a couple months because you're not around your family, you having to, live on your own. So it was kind of overwhelming, especially when it got to like on the court. The coaches, it's like this is what it is. Like, they're down your throat is every day, you gotta be here at this time, be on time, do this, do that, do that. It's a lot. And it's overwhelming for somebody that's coming from, especially a high school that doesn't really transition to that. Transition have you ready for that? My high school that you didn't do whatever, but it's like it's not really strict. It's not really structured in that way. So having to go from that to that, it was really overwhelming. But
Froze
you
up.
learn to adjust. You have to learn to adjust. So yeah, you just have to learn to adjust. And if you don't, then the next person is ready to take your spot. And that's the same professionally. You have to be able to produce, or somebody gonna come in and take your spot. Like it's really like that. But you have to learn to adjust and understand that it's basketball, it's business, and it's sometimes personal, but mostly these coaches got to win to keep their job, and that's what it is. That's just the reality of it. And if you're not putting them in a position to succeed, how can they help you succeed? You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. That's how it is. You're gonna get the coaches that care about you, that that want to invest in you, but you also get the ones that that's about they about their coin.
About the business. It's all business. That's good. Let's back up just a smidgen and go back to high school.
Okay.
What was your recruiting process like to get to college? What did you do or your parents do to help you kind of put you out there so that people would recognize your talents and abilities and get you offers?
So for me, playing AAU was a lot different because it was a lot of coaches like just in the gym. I went to a lot of camps, and one thing that stuck with me that my mom did was she taught me about the clearinghouse. I don't know if that's still a thing now.
It is.
But
It is.
okay. But she taught me about the clearinghouse at a young age and like, understanding that you gotta have the grades in order to that's it. It's no shortcut to you gotta have it. And there's so many kids and players that I see that just have it. They have it skill wise, but they don't have it book wise. And it's sad. It is really sad. But one thing my mom did teach me is about the clearinghouse, and for me that stuck with me. On the court stuff became easy. I wasn't always the most talented. I wasn't, but just working hard, playing AAU, high school ball, just working hard on the court. And I think for me that gave me that edge to get offers. And Marlene Strawlins is the one that recruited me. She was actually at Winthrop first. And for me, Winthrop is cool, but I knew deep down I wanted to get out of South Carolina. I don't know why, but I just felt it, and it was a blessing because I was getting recruited. My top two was Winthrop and UNC Charlotte, and Marlene Strawlin, she got the job at VCU. And even at VCU, she still, believed in me and, wanted me to come to VCU. And it was between UNC Charlotte and VCU. And I was like, I went on my visit to both and I just love VCU. I love Richmond. I love the city. And for me, and don't get me wrong, the process is very, like I told you, at that age, to be able to have to make such a big decision is people underestimate that because it's hard. It's really hard because you're a kid and you have so many voices. You have parents, you have coaches, you have everybody in your ear. Like, do this, you got to make the decision for you, and a lot of times it's let me make the decision because of the name versus where I would succeed. And that's important because anybody can be on a bench at a USC. Well, not anybody, but like it's, easier said than done. But for me, I think it's more important to go where you're going to thrive. And for me, I felt VCU in my heart was the best decision. And that's what I went with.
And Kira, did your parents play a heavy role in helping you make a decision, or did they make the decision for you? Was it a joint decision? How did all of that play out?
No, my mom, she was just like a big advocate for, just you got it. Like, like she gonna pray about it and like you got it. She'll help me along the way if I have questions. But nah, like the decision was mine. It was all mine. And the support was absolutely there. But for me, it was never you should go here or you should like sway me. It was never that. It was never that.
That wraps up another episode of Recruiting from the Bleachers. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and I appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to join us next week for another insightful conversation. Stay connected with us on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube at Recruiting from the Bleachers. Like, share, and follow to keep up with the latest updates. And don't hesitate to leave your comments and questions. We'd love to hear from you. For a deeper dive into the basketball recruiting process, check out our book, Basketball Recruiting, A Parent's Perspective, available now on Amazon.com. Parents, remember, from the bleachers to the big leagues to the boardroom, let's keep cheering and steering our student athletes towards success. We'll see you next time.